Some cars were a disguise plain unassuming, blending into traffic like just another ride. But under the hood, they're monsters. These are sleeper cars, street-legal predators that don't show off until it's too late. They won't turn heads at a stoplight, but stomp on the gas, and they'll smoke the loudest muscle on the block. Number 8. 1967 Chevrolet Biscayne 427. To most people, it was just another plain Jane Chevy, a budget-friendly sedan with zero flash. But real gearheads knew better. The 1967 Chevrolet Biscayne 427 was a full-on street weapon in disguise. This two-door sleeper packed a 427 cubic inch V8, a torque-happy brute, paired with a no-nonsense 3-speed manual. It hit 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds, with a quarter-mile time under 15. And it did all that looking like your uncle's commuter car. The Biscayne was never built to impress. It was built to be cheap. No shiny chrome, no power windows, just vinyl seats and hubcaps. But Chevy left a loophole. Buyers could spec it with any engine, including the monster big block 427. Few people took the bait, but those who did walked away with a factory muscle car wrapped in modest clothes. The flashy Chevys got the spotlight. The Biscayne 427 got the respect. Today, it's a rare gem, raw power dressed in blue-collar skin. Number 7. 1965 Dodge Coronet 426 Street Wedge. Before the Hemi stole the headlines, there was the 426 Street Wedge, a quieter killer from Dodge. It wasn't built for the strip, it was built for the street. With a single 4-barrel Carter carb, a milder cam, and standard manifolds, it looked tame. But the numbers said otherwise. 365 horsepower and 470 lb-ft of torque in a mid-size package. The Coronet had just been redesigned in '65, giving it a clean new look on a 117-inch wheelbase. Buyers could choose between base 440 or 500 trim and still check the box for the Street Wedge V8. Motor Trend called it one of the most exciting cars of the year. It came with heavy-duty suspension, a 4-speed manual, and police-spec drum brakes. No stripes, no scoop, just raw torque, hidden beneath a straight-edge body. The 426 Street Wedge never got the Hemi's fame, but for those who knew, it was muscle and plain clothes. Number 6. 1968 Mercury Monterey 428 Police Interceptor. In 1968, Mercury built tens of thousands of Montereys, but only a few were true wolves in disguise. The 428 Police Interceptor version was built for high-speed pursuits. It cranked out 340 horsepower, backed by a heavy-duty suspension, reinforced brakes, and a smooth 3-speed auto. This wasn't just a cruiser. It was a full-size street enforcer. The body was clean and conservative, Lincoln-inspired lines, wide grille, big lamps. No flash. But under the hood, highway-grade fury. The Missouri Highway Patrol ran these cars well into the 70s. Most people never noticed them until they were already in the rearview. Today, originals are almost extinct. But back then, the Monterey Police Interceptor was judge, jury, and executioner wearing a badge. Number 5. 1963 Pontiac Tempest LeMans 326. Before the GTO made history, this was Pontiac's sleeper. The 1963 Tempest LeMans 326. Half of all Tempest sold that year were LeMans models. And for good reason. It was the year Pontiac ditched the Econobox vibes and gave this car real muscle. A clean body, a rear transaxle for balanced handling, and the real kicker, a V8 with more muscle than advertised. Pontiac called it a 326, but it was actually 336 cubic inches, slightly bigger than Chevy's Corvette engine. GM rules said no compact car could outrun a Vette. So Pontiac fudged the numbers. You could get it with a 3-speed, a rare 4-speed, or a beefy automatic. And it laid the foundation for the GTO, which dropped 1 year later. The LeMans 326 wasn't loud or famous, but it was a turning point. The quiet shot that sparked a revolution. Number 4. 1969 Chevrolet Kingswood 427 Wagon. A station wagon? On a muscle car list? Absolutely. The 1969 Kingswood 427 wasn't your average family hauler. This long-roof monster packed a 427 cubic inch V8 under the hood. The same engine that powered Chevelles and Corvettes. Based on the Caprice, the Kingswood was all about luxury. But a few buyers wanted power too, and checked the box for the 335 horsepower big block. Butternut yellow paint, wood grain panels, a luggage rack. It looked like a vacation machine. But under the hood, it was a street brawler. Inside, pure 60s class. Black vinyl, wood grain trim, power everything. Even a third-row seat rear-facing, of course. The kicker? That massive V8 backed by a 3-speed turbo-hydromatic. This wagon could haul 9 people and still dust muscle cars off the line. Today, pristine Kingswood 427s are unicorns. But they remind us, even your dad's old grocery getter might have been packing heat. Number 3. 1966 Studebaker Daytona Sports Sedan. One of the rarest cars on this list comes from a brand most people forgot. The 1966 Studebaker Daytona was the company's last stand, a stylish V8-powered sedan built in Canada. After U.S. production had already shut down, only 2,929 were made. Most were driven into the ground or scrapped. But those who kept them knew what they had. A well-built sleeper with surprising punch. Under the hood, a 283 V8 borrowed from Chevy. Around 10 seconds to 60. With a top speed of 120 miles per hour. Modest by today's standards, but back then it was right in muscle territory. With front disc brakes and decent handling, it was more refined than most of its rivals. But Studebaker was fading fast, and the Daytona never got its moment. Today it's a ghost, a relic from a fallen brand, and one of the coolest forgotten sleepers in American history. Number 2. 1964 Buick Skylark Gran Sport. This is where Buick stopped whispering and roared. The 1964 Skylark Gran Sport was Buick's entry into the muscle car arena, and it came out swinging. It shared its body with GM cousins, like the Chevrolet and Tempest. But the Skylark had a secret weapon, the 401 nail-head V8, making 325 horsepower and a brutal 445 lb-ft of torque. 3 transmission options, a 3-speed manual, a rare 4-speed, or the classic super turbine automatic. Heavy-duty suspension, dual exhausts, front sway bar. This was Buick flexing hard. No wild graphics, just clean lines, red Gran Sport badges, and tire-roasting torque. The GTO and 442 got the fame. The Gran Sport got overlooked. But make no mistake, this Buick meant business. Number 1. 1965 Plymouth Belvedere 426 Street Wedge. Before the Roadrunner, before the GTX, there was this. The 1965 Plymouth Belvedere with the 426 Street Wedge. Like its Dodge cousin, it skipped the Hemi's racing pedigree in favor of street reliability, and it was deadly quiet about it. You could spec it in a base Belvedere body, bench seats, steel wheels, no chrome, no badges, and still get the 426-inch V8 making 365 horsepower. In the right hands, it was quicker than a Mustang GT and cheaper than a GTO. And yet, nobody noticed it coming. That's the very definition of a sleeper. Outro, these were the underdogs, the forgotten beasts, the family cars that could outrun legends. They weren't built to brag. They were built to surprise. Which one would you take for a spin? Let us know in the comments. And if you love stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a ride through muscle car history. This is Regal Rides. See you in the next one.